edge.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I hope you guys are doing good. Going to share my screen. Hang on, let's see. Okay, cool. Yeah, hello. I guess we can go ahead and start with a round of check-ins. I'll start, I guess, as always. I am looking to, I think my intention for this call is for sure to look at planning out a bit. I mean, lightly, like starting to assign like tasks or like going through the board a bit to see like what people want to grab. Because we have the next few weeks now sort of looking to be quieter as a lot of people are at Burning Man and Lauren is also out, and there's an opportunity for us, I think, to pick up a lot of new stuff. Don't have any distractions really. I'll pass it to you, Sim.
Okay, thanks, Corey. Yeah, my intentions are really just to hear what the next priorities are, because the bit dialogue went out last week and that was a big focus. I can also give an update on our discussion on the process for the content, because Ahmad, Corey, and Claire and I met yesterday on that. But yeah, mostly just hear what's the next thing that we need to concentrate on, and currently not distracted. And I'll pass to Nicola.
Thanks, Sam. Yeah, well, my intentions are to keep myself synced and see if, there are some ways that I can support. I mean, I know myself that there is one GitHub issue that's still laying in kind of a backlog, like going to create this how to get verified videos. So maybe I can pick that back. But yeah, I'm definitely here to just keep myself synced and see all the things and where I can plug in. And I'm gonna pass it. Oh, no distractions. And I'm gonna pass it on to Almond.
Hey, thank you, Nicola. Hey, everyone. So my intentions for the call is to listen to you all, to learn about the work in progress that is happening within the communications team. And my distractions would be that today I'm having some repairments. I don't know if that word actually exists, but my father is here to help me with some things with my house, so that makes me kind of distracted. And I'll pass it to Ashley. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Thanks. My intentions for the call, just to be here, sync up, see if there's anything that I can update on, maybe give an update. I finished that event guide that I had talked about before. And my distractions, just feeling kind of under the weather today, to be honest. And I will pass it to Ahmad.
Hope you feel better, Ashley. Yeah, my intentions are to follow up on the content plan that we talked about earlier, that Sam and I and Corey had a meeting on. Who else was there? I think also and Claire was there as well. So update on that, and also just see what are things that we can do in this downtime. So I think one major thing is I want to try to ship the project onboarding video series if we can. So that's a major thing that I want to try to push this week. And yeah, I'm not distracted, ready to get started. And let me pass it on to Jake.
Cool, thanks. Intentions, just listen up. If there's any questions, I'll keep plugging the CRM and the donor survey. So I guess that's my intentions, is continue to be a broken record, plug that. Distractions, nothing. I mean, it's 37 degrees in Tbilisi today, so maybe the warm weather. And I will pass it on to Shuga.
Great, thanks. Hi, everybody. I'm here to sync up and to see. I put an issue on the agenda we can check out. And I have some distractions because I'm traveling transatlantic today. So I'll be a bit out of the loop for a little bit and just still get packed and stuff. And so sitting in the bathroom of a motel. So I will, as my office, I should add, and I'll pass it to.
Did you name a name? Sorry, I think we missed that.
Oh, do I always sign off too quick when I say the name? Katya. Did y'all hear me?
Hey guys, can you hear me? Because on the last call, the audio wasn't coming through.
Yeah, we hear you great.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, awesome. Yeah, so no distractions. My intention is to listen, learn, and also see what I can pick up and just to keep plugging away on the projects that I'm currently focusing on. So donor flow, give power, delegation, and there's something else I'm missing. I can't remember right now. Yeah, so keep plugging away and tuning in to what's happening with the team. Thanks, and I will pass it to, let me see. I think you guys went.
Jake, did you go already? Yeah, you
Yeah,
did.
but
Yeah,
I
Jake
think
went. Yeah.
Watabe is out there.
Katabe. Pass to Katabe.
So my intentions is also to stay in the loop, see wherever I can help. Distractions, yeah, maybe a little bit of work and communications on the background. That's it. Pass it back to you, Corey, I think, or I don't know, maybe Raz is here. I'll pass it to Raz.
Raz, are you there? Sounds like you are, but you're unmuted, but we don't hear anything, really. Okay, maybe Raz comes back around. All right, I think we have everyone. Claire, you also went already, or no? Actually, you didn't.
I didn't go yet. Hi everyone. Thanks, Corey. My intentions for the call are just to sync up with everybody and find out how I can prioritize my comms responsibilities over the next couple of weeks because I'm traveling, so my hours are going to be a bit irregular. And I am a little bit distracted now with thoughts of having to get everything packed, the children as well, ready for travel tomorrow, but I will try to stay focused. And I think I'm the last one, so I'm handing back to you, Cole.
Okay, Raz, are you there?
How about Jeff?
Okay, I don't know. There's attempted signaling, but I'm sorry we can't hear you.
Hi,
Hello?
can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can hear you.
Good evening, everybody. How are you? Just listening in the background, learning more. Happy to be here again another night. Thank you.
Okay.
I missed the initial part of the conversation, so
Oh yeah,
if
so we
there's
just
anything
kick off.
talking.
We kick off these calls with a round of like just explaining your intention for the call and any distractions that you may have. But yeah, thanks for joining. Okay, then I think we've got everybody. Cool. So yeah, we have more of a loose agenda today. A couple of items definitely like want to just like touch base on, but I think a big like intention, also big part of the call that I'd mentioned before is like syncing up, and other people are also saying the same, like just so we understand sort of priorities. It's something we can sort of determine together as a group. But I think like the core of it is really, we had this big push like over the last weeks of creating content around like all of the conferences we had last month. A lot of that now we've gotten done, which is great. We also had some product pushes. We got content done around that. We also had some priorities like the BitDAO proposal. We've also gotten content done around that. So first off, like awesome work to everybody, because it was kind of crazy for a few weeks. And for that reason, I think GitHub has just been sort of sitting there, besides like this heavy focus on those three things. And there's quite a, Kotabi, do you mind muting yourself? There's quite a nice backlog sitting there of issues on the. All right, Kotabi, I'm gonna mute you. Oh wait, thank you, you did it. There's quite a like a backlog of issues sitting on GitHub, and the idea I think is like to go through those and self-assign ourselves, and maybe also decide as a group like which ones are probably most important to take, and we can like I can help with we can like kind of select some topics, and then I can move them out to like sprint backlog or something to make it clear like which ones we should self-assign, and then the idea would be that like people grab them. So yeah, and I think like for instance it's there's a couple of different topics we could focus on. Amadi already brought one up, which was like the donor, the project onboarding series, for example. This kind of went to the wayside with all the other things we had going on, and would require a little bit more time to get it done. So this is like a good time to focus on those kind of things. But before we jump to the board, like maybe there's a couple of things that we can just go through here on the agenda. And like one I wanted to bring up right away, which is I don't know if you all are aware of like the Zodiac wiki that Gnosis Guild launched. Is everyone kind of aware that this sort of came up as like essentially like a Wikipedia that's being launched for the DAO verse? So it's something that recently came up, and from my understanding, like part of this would be Giveth putting themselves on this database as well. Ahmad, for example, have you taken a look at this more specifically? Because Danny Bell basically like highlighted it to us yesterday in Discord and was like, this is definitely something that like comms could be working on to make sure that we're like, to make sure that we're represented there properly. I was wondering if anyone else in the group has like taken a closer look at that.
No, I haven't yet.
This is okay. So we basically have like Zodiac Wiki. It's an open living resource for DAOs, which is like, it's a shared library. I mean, if you're familiar with Wikipedia, I'm pretty sure this is based on that concept, right? So it's a library of reading materials, documentation, language describing common problems, practical responses for organizations. So I think this is all like, relatively self-explanatory if you're familiar with Wikipedia. So my understanding so far, I want to look into it a little bit further. My understanding so far is that, I would assume Giveth would want to list themselves on here as a DAO. So likely we'll need some content created around that. That's as much as I understand right now, because we're going to be building out a library and with documentation and all of that. So I'll create an issue for this in GitHub, and I just would like to get a better understanding of like how much is involved here, whether we just have to write like a Wikipedia page on this, right? Or if there's more things that need to be involved, or if it could also probably, I would assume, be like a work in progress. So we start with like a basic page, and then maybe we can like add onto it over time, but it probably just would link out to the Giveth platform. That's my first impression of this.
Yeah, just real quick, like I also went through it. So how I understand it is this is not really like a wiki about what different DAOs do, but it's like they have something called problem patterns, I think, where like people can describe common problems that they have in their DAO. So like if anyone else is also working on a DAO, they could look at those problems and see how we solve them. So I guess it would be more like what are common things that we struggle with and how do we solve them? I guess it would be around maybe, I don't know, donor onboarding or maybe onboarding projects maybe. I'm not sure, like we'd have to think about like what are common problems that we have and how can we frame it so it makes sense on their site. So like on the left here, if you scroll down to where it says patterns on the left, yeah, just like a little further down, yeah, there. So like that's basically like the main thesis behind it is you have these like patterns, and then like people can describe what are problems that they commonly face, and then yeah, you can talk about how you solve them. So yeah, like I think it would need some thinking for us to figure out like what would be a pattern that would make sense for us.
I guess that's one part of it, right, Anand? I mean, there's also the library and the documentation. So it seems like it's broken into three parts. One with this about problems and practical responses, one being the library of texts related to decentralized governance, and then this toolkit in documentation.
Yeah, you might be right. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Either way, it's not a Wikipedia of DAOs. It's a toolkit, right? It has a practical application for tools, problems, and resources. I would phrase it.
yeah, like a central, right. I'm just using Wikipedia like as like I mean, Wikipedia covers so many different things, so I just kind of see it in the same way. So yeah, not like, I'm just assuming there's also a space for people to like have a page about their DAO, but also then contribute to general, like from the experience of having a DAO, like contribute to this in all of these facets, right? So yeah, I'm still trying to understand like the full scope of all of it. But I guess the idea here is like we definitely have something to contribute from the Giveth side. Plus, it would, from a comms perspective, be really smart to contribute because, as you can see already, there's like there's even specific companies already mentioned here. Like you have Cabin DAO here. So, or like DAO was mentioned. So I think like that's the idea as well. Like it's, you know, Giveth has a lot to contribute here, and also like we'd have get more exposure for Giveth in general, as one of like the older DAOs as well. So so yeah, it's just for me right now a question mark, like what the scope is, like how big of a thing this is, how much work is involved in like what we'd need to do. I think it would help a lot, maybe like first it probably just needs a little bit of research. And then once we're kind of aware of like, okay, these are like the things that would make sense to contribute to or to create around this, like, and then we could actually create tasks for content. Do you agree? Like, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think though, like a lot of the other people that posted here, they just have like, I mean, just a few sentences. So like, I don't think we need to make something that like complicated in the beginning.
I also don't think this has anything to do with exposure. This is like a collective toolkit so we can come together as a community to share our resources. I don't think it has anything to do with marketing our brand.
Well, all of it's, I don't mean in the sense of like, it's not a marketing effort. It's just, it's good for us to contribute. Like we could put this on the back burner for 6 months, or we could be one of the first to come in here. And I think that's why I would put it more on the front end, because I think like we have a lot to contribute here, and then also yeah, everyone else who comes in to contribute is going to see that. So I think it's really good. Like there's a couple here also, which is really interesting. They have like co-ops and stuff in here. So yeah, I think I was wondering if someone would want to take on the task of like researching or creating like a bit of a task list, at least, of like, hey, it would make sense that we throw in something here, or we throw in something there. Or we can do it as a group and then go from there. Kind of the way that we create like lists for, for the newsletter or whatever, how we compile things like this.
I'd be happy to take a closer look. And yeah, go ahead, Claire.
I was just going to say you can assign that to me if you want, but Sim, if you've got a big desire to do that.
No, I don't. I think, yeah, I had other things, but if you've got capacity to take it on, that would be great, and then everyone can contribute.
I think I'm just gonna call this Zodiac Wiki for now, and we'll just start with like research.
So like, for example, here, like maybe we could talk about like the praise system and how we use that and how that keeps people involved. Like maybe things like that maybe would be relevant.
I would think so.
Maybe there's some things that you can take from the BitDAO proposal, because there were, and also from our docs on who Giveth is as an intro, and then yeah, some of the features that we've released. I just don't know what is relevant, but I'm sure that there's content that we've already created that would be able to fit into some sections.
Yeah, it's true. We can also reuse. Well, let's see. Yeah, okay. I'm just gonna put this in here for now. Claire, do you mind if I add you to this one? And then if anyone else also wants to like jump in, I think like step one is really just the research part. We can start like filling out this issue, and then once we're a little bit more clear on like what needs to be done, we can distribute out the tasks. Maybe it's, yeah, because maybe it is like literally just I'll put myself on this too anyway. Maybe it literally just is a couple of sentences, or maybe there's some parts that are more extensive. So we'll see. I'll put this then in like the sprint backlog. Cool. Yeah, nice. Okay, so yeah, maybe let's just leave that for now. And yeah, so actually, yeah, and would you like to give a quick update, Ahmad and Sim, on the content planning process?
Yeah, sure, I can.
Yeah,
So we had a call, was it yesterday or 2 days ago? I forgot, time flies.
Okay.
But yeah, we talked about basically how can we centralize content that we'd like to talk about in a centralized way, so we can easily know what are the top things that we'd like to share on the newsletter, on Twitter, on any other place on social media. So we also wanted to do it in a way where it doesn't cause us more work. So what we came up with was, I made a Zapier where if you make a new issue on GitHub and you tag it in a certain way, it'll add it onto a sheet. So I can show you all really quickly. I'll just share my screen and I'll show you exactly how this works. Let me know when you can see my screen. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So what you need to do is, so I basically made this sheet here where it takes in content from GitHub. You'll see what the title is of that piece of content and exactly what was mentioned, and then a link to that issue and who it was assigned to and the status of it. And then here we could say, where do we want to share it on Twitter, newsletter, or Planable, anywhere else. Then if you want to add something to this list, all you have to do is just make a new issue on GitHub, but you shouldn't do it from here. So like, don't make it from here, because if you do it from here, you won't be able to add a tag to it. So what you want to do instead is click on new issue. So don't do it from here, because if you do it from here, it won't be able to let you add a tag. So it's not going to work. So instead, do it from here, click new issue. And then like, let's say we want to, I don't know, share like an update on Give Power, for example, right? So we'll come here and say, blog post on Give Power, for example. So then, like, you just write a normal comment here, write the blog post, whatever. And then here, like, just make sure to add the label content. So then when you do that, it will tag it. I don't know why it's taking a second to load, but yeah, like basically there's a label called content here. When you add that label and you save it, or like submit it as a new issue, it'll add it onto the sheet basically. So, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, it's very simple. It just, it adds it here. So then in the future, if you have anything that you want to add, just make sure to add that label. Yeah, like the content label to it. And I'm not sure why this is not loading. Hold on. Let me try again. Yeah, see, now it's working. So like, see, like just add content like that. And then once you do that and you submit it, it will add it onto that sheet. And that's pretty much it.
I have a question. So with
Sure.
my next tweet thread that I'm preparing like every 2 weeks for the verified project, I can already use this, and it's gonna. I mean, do you want this to go on the content planner, guys?
Up to you. So I think it would be anything that you would want everyone else to know about. So that I might want to include in the newsletter, for example, or we might want to share on Facebook or LinkedIn or somewhere else. So if you think it's only specific or it's only relevant as a Twitter thread, then probably not. But if you think that it's something that could be used anywhere else, then yeah, I would add it. And like the only thing is, yeah, like all you have to do is just add that label. That's it.
Okay, well, maybe that's a good question to ask everyone else. What do you guys think? I think it could be nice if we decide to support more visibility for verified projects. But what do you think? Do we want to have it in other places too?
I think it could be a nice addition to the Facebook page.
I think the more content, the better. And if we can reuse what you're already doing on a tweet thread and it's able to be repurposed for LinkedIn and Facebook quite easily, then why not? It's a good idea.
So what does it work if you modify the content? Which side, like Gitbook?
Sorry, I couldn't really hear that.
So if you modify the issue, how does that work? Can you modify it on the spreadsheet? What happens on the other end?
Yeah, so they're not connected at all. So like, I mean, it's literally like the only thing it does is like basically puts it on the spreadsheet. But once it's on the spreadsheet, we can do whatever we want to it. So like, for example, here, if we want to, we could delete this or change it, or I mean, it's completely up to us. we could change,
Okay.
you know, anything here. So yeah, I mean, it's just like a thing to add it onto a spreadsheet, just so we don't have to keep like manually updating this every time.
Quick question, Ahmad, about the functionality from GitHub to the spreadsheet. Can you retrospectively add that label content through the GitHub issue? I know you said make it from the top button, but do you know if it can be added retrospectively?
I think it can. So I did look at the documentation, and it said that any label that's added should add it. Yeah,
Okay.
like short answer is I think it should work. Yeah.
All right, thanks.
No worries.
You also brought up an interesting point there of modifying. I'm wondering if on the spreadsheet, once the content is zapped from GitHub to the spreadsheet page, if it's possible for once the box that's ticked for Facebook or for LinkedIn, it could duplicate that content onto another sheet within that same document that could then help us just have an area to modify that text for those particular audiences. So it just kind of automatically gives us a place with that content that we can then adjust the copy, if that makes sense. Don't know if I'm being clear.
Yeah, that's fair. I think though, like an easier way to do that would just be to add new columns here. I mean, since like basically when it's added, it'll just add these first 4 columns, or
yes,
yeah, like these first 5. I mean, so like these first 5 columns, and these are ones that are not added from Zapier. So then we could just add a few here. So like we could say, you know, tweet draft, for example, newsletter copy, and then whatever, Facebook copy, right? So then these can be as large as we want them to be, and then we could just add it here, basically. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So then we wouldn't need to make a separate sheet.
Maybe, I didn't mean sheet, sorry, I did mean tab on that same
a
sheet.
tab?
But yeah, maybe that would work as long as it doesn't look overwhelming. But exactly that idea was really just how can we easily have a place where we can then adapt for the different.
Yeah, I think this should be fine. Yeah, I mean, you could like make it smaller as well if you wrap it like this. Like if you do
This
this.
is not for content creation, is it? Like this is, I thought, just for anyone who has a content request can throw something in here. Because we have a process already for creating content, the review process, right? So I thought this is like something we send to all the teams at the end of the month and ask them to please like put in requests for the following month.
Yeah, it is. Maybe it's mixing apples and pears here if we add in spaces for text.
Like
okay, maybe let's leave it out. Yeah.
I would leave that running through the issues in GitHub. But this is just to create like to use this then to create sort of like prioritizations around content for the following month. I mean, this could have 3 different departments like throwing stuff in here.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. Yeah, and like then, you know, all of the comments people have would be on the issue, of course, you know. So like if you want to see the issue, just go to the issue, and you know, from there you can, you know, choose how you want to comment on it, you know. So yeah.
Just wanted to say, Sim, if we did find that we needed separate tabs, I can probably just write a little macro to do that each time you click one of the buttons. It will put on a new tab. Let's see how we go, hey?
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay,
all
so
right, I'll share this on the group, and then you guys can all have a look at it.
So the process for like the process for anyone to like request content to be planned out is they need to go into GitHub, create an issue around it, and then add the
content tag.
The content tag. Okay.
Or the content label, I think it's called. Yeah, content label.
Okay, so then ideally, and then is it also populating a date, like you know, because like how do we know that if they're like, yeah, we want this to go out next month, it's like, does it need to be by the first week of next month or by the end of the month?
So yeah, so that's something else that I looked into. The only way that I think we could do that is if we add a milestone, but I didn't want to mess with that because I don't know who is using milestones at the moment. But we
Okay.
could technically add a milestone to it. But yeah, I'm not sure if we want to complicate it with that or not.
Okay, maybe they write it for now in the description of the issue, but that would be
Yeah.
the other thing to flush out is like imagine like a bunch of things start getting populated in there and we would still need to prioritize that list,
Yeah.
right? So that would probably be the next thing. But that's really cool that it's integrated or that it's automated.
Yeah, it is. Well done.
Thanks.
Cool.
Just a question. You had a space for assignee, so that means as soon as the issue is open, someone would need to assign it to a person, or that can be blank.
It could be blank, yeah. It doesn't need to be
Okay.
assigned, but if it is assigned, they would pull it.
Is there a way that you can zap through the person who opened the
Who
issue?
opened it? I mean, is that something that's shown here? Yeah, I guess it's here, right? You see who opened it.
Yeah, because it
I'll
would be
need to
good, for
check that.
instance, for that Zodiac wiki issue, if Danny was to open it up as an issue on GitHub, say there's content that's needed for this, and we could see on this sheet that it was Danny who said that, then we know who to chat to about more information or more context.
Yeah. Yeah, I could check that real quick. I'm not 100% sure if that's something that we could do, but yeah, like just real quick, if you guys have just like 1 minute, I'll just show you how this works. So basically all it's doing is it's taking from, there's a new issue with that label on GitHub, and I say, you know, like content label on the Giveth planning board, then I just say put it here. And then like I can pull in anything that GitHub lets me pull in. So I'll just have to see if the person, yeah, so instead of the assignee, if it's like a person posting it, but I'm not sure if that's what they would even call that. I'll have to check. It might be user login, I'm not sure. But yeah, I can double check that and see if that's available.
Yeah, do you mind if we continue on with the agenda? Like I feel
Yeah,
like
yeah,
we're
yeah.
getting a little bit too specific on this right now.
Let's do it.
Okay, cool.
Well, thanks
But
everyone.
yeah, and the idea behind that again is like to you know, to hopefully be able to plan out like our content a little bit more in advance on a monthly basis, like in general, and also help prioritize, especially because we were doing that in preparation for Burning Man the last few weeks, and it's been like incredibly useful to have content batching being done and like to plan it out like 3-4 weeks in advance instead of like a week in advance. So this would help like other departments also like give us these signals in a way that's not tied to a singular human being like Lauren, for example, or you, Ashley, or like sometimes it's just this information is being transmitted through like one person. So it's super cool. And yeah, there was a couple of the things on the agenda that were listed. Like someone, I'm not actually sure who wrote this, like ECC post advice process. Is this an old one or did someone add this?
That's me, Suga.
Oh, cool. Okay. What?
So that
mhm.
I was talking to Lauren about this because I ended up dividing the ETH Barcelona. They used to be the same article, and we wanted to sort of feature the ETH Barcelona because the Giveth presence was so big, and so the ETHCC is at the moment a lot shorter. So it got taken out of the Barcelona post, and so really I just wanted to get a little bit of feedback on that. One thing I talked about with Lauren was she was thinking that a better idea, or I don't want to present it as better, but one idea is actually to write a piece on GRIP's talk at the Sustainable Blockchain Summit. And so I think what I'm asking is some advice on what y'all think about either doing that or in fact doing an ECC recap, or in theory I could do both. I think the SBS talk was really important. I would hate to lose the ECC material, particularly the funny dinosaur. But
Yeah.
just presenting that.
I kind of like my take on that, like just me, I like the ECC recap
Cool.
as a whole because it's such a critical conference. Like,
Yeah.
Of course, we personally had a bigger presence in Barcelona, but frankly, like industry-wide, ECC is a more important event, kind of, or like, I don't want to say more important, but you know what I mean, like better known.
Yeah.
And we have enough content to make like a whole thing out of it, right? Like obviously.
Yes. Okay. What does anybody else think? Yeah, I hear you.
You'd mentioned being able to do both. Would that be possible? Because Griff's talks I haven't listened to that one specifically, but generally they share so much more vision that I learn a lot from those, and it's really nice to have a write-up on those. Would it be possible?
Okay. Yes, I think
Sorry.
so. No, I kind of like that idea. I know.
So I've already, if it helps, I've already transcribed his talk.
From SBS?
I finished doing that last night. It's not word for word, but it has like all the important stuff in there at least, because the idea was to create like a tweet thread out of it. Although to be honest, I feel like a blog post might be better, but like some kind of piece of content. So at least like it's transcribed and we have the slides. So like something can be created out of that. I would do both. Because I think this is great, like what you have here for the ECC recap.
Okay, like don't lose that. Yeah, I think it was, one of the issues was that the content was shorter, and so I talked to Lauren about fleshing that out. And she gave me a bunch of more stuff, but like how in detail do we go, since in fact Giveth wasn't hugely present, but I was there, and I know you were there, and some other folks were there. And as a volunteer, I got to kind of interact a bit more, so I can definitely find. Anyway, blah blah blah. Okay, let's do both. I'll do both.
Okay, cool. I can sync up with you on the SBS talk.
Super. Okay, cool.
And then I would say let's go forward with the ECC recap, and you are the best for that because you were so deeply in it, volunteering, and it's a cool way that we can like ping ECC again, and like I don't know, it's a significant event.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Great. And so I'll set that up with you later because I'm traveling, and then so maybe later this week or something.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Yep. Okay, cool. Perfect. Yeah. All right. Then yes. Let's see. Okay, there's one thing really quick. We had this like Ichi Giveth contest running over the last week, like bringing exposure to the Angel Vault, and I was curious if anyone's interested in picking out a meme, because part of the contest was people had to submit memes, and like the Ichi team said that we should just, between like us on the team, or between like them and I guess like me, pick like our favorite meme. But I thought it might be kind of fun if there's anyone else who like really likes memes, would want to review. I think there's like, it was like a list of like 30 submissions or 40. They got like 40 memes submitted, and we're supposed to like each pick our favorite and go with that. So I'm not the biggest meme person, to be honest, but I'll do it. But if anyone else actually would have like a lot more fun doing that, or is like really into memes, just wanted to ask real quick if someone feels like reviewing a list.
And look at that. Well, but what's the time frame? I don't want
to. It might need to be today or tomorrow. I can check with them when they need to pick the winner by.
I would be down, but I can't. I'm traveling transatlantic today, so I'll be out of the loop a little bit. But
if you can do it tomorrow, like you'd be down if you could do it tomorrow or the day after.
Yeah, but this week, sure.
Okay. I was just wanted to ask. I'll
I'm
let you know.
traveling in the wrong direction, so I lose a day. So just FYI. I lose what's today? Tuesday. I lose today and tomorrow, basically, to the air travel. But
Okay.
you know,
Okay.
everybody else.
All right, cool. Well, then I think that these are the most let's see. We have also like, okay, I added that one, but I can check with that later. Influencer, maybe we'll talk about that next week. In general, since we only have 10 minutes left, I figure it's actually smart that we just smartest that we just focus on like priorities. If everyone's okay with that on the planning board. I don't want to skip over anything here, but I think that's what I would jump to now.
Yeah, I just wanted to add quick about the event guide thing that I said in the check-in. In the forum, there is now a category called events, and under events, there is a template where you will find you can create a plan for an event and then pass it along to the communications team so that they know your plan and what content will be needed to be created, yada yada. So I could share screen and show that, but I think it's important to get to the board as well. So please just take a look in the forum. Let me know what you think. I'm also working with Sim on creating like a comms plan. Those are a little bit more detailed, and I have some details around that too that I can add there. So yeah, just check that out.
Thanks. If you want to post a screenshot in the comms channel, that's probably also a good way.
Yeah, definitely. I will do that.
Okay, cool.
And that is something that I will get to this week because I had some changes to make on it. So I haven't that.
Let me refresh this for a second. Yeah, so like looking at this kind of all right, so we've like reviewing QA, all of that I kind of looked at before. That was all right. In general, I think the idea is like, what are like some of the like the rest that we're working on here, I think we're aware of, but the like anything new to kind of pick up. One thing for sure, like Ahmad, you already touched on it, I thought would be like the projects onboarding series. There's like a
it's the one in the middle. It's the epic one, yeah, under epics, yeah.
Project owners 101 course. Yeah, this is something like also Lauren had mentioned, like we were looking at this a couple weeks ago, and I mean, this might be like a nice thing to knock out. We're talking about over the next few weeks. And the process here is the same as always. I think most of us are familiar at this point. Like basically everyone assigning themselves to a video and then writing a script for it. The script gets approved, and then there's the production of the video itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I see there's like a couple here. All right, so this one's actually like ready for review. Some of these are assigned, but I'm going to assume like obviously the ones assigned to Lauren are not going to be happening anytime soon. We can check the issues. So in general, yeah, and there's like a couple here assigned. So would everyone feel comfortable taking, I mean, how many slots we've opened? 1, 2, 3, 4. Depends on the topic too, I guess. Would everyone feel comfortable assigning themselves to like one with like I mean, what would be fair, like a 2-week time frame, or like maybe a week just to create a script for it, or a bullet? It's like a bullet point, like flow of like
Yeah,
what to
exactly.
for that would need to be reviewed first and approved.
Yeah, I mean, if someone is not comfortable recording videos, they could just, help with the bullet list and say, okay, this topic of video, I think it should cover these 5 things, for example. So yeah.
There's only
However,
one. There's like policies, for example. Is policies like a specific topic that maybe like only certain people should be taking?
Yeah, I think policies is mainly the kinds of projects that we would approve of or that would not be allowed on Giveth, for example, or like things to keep in mind when you're posting a project. So that would mainly be, I guess, taken from our docs.
Okay, I'm just gonna ask for some like people to jump in here.
How many are there in total that need to be assigned? Because maybe there's some that could be a first priority, and then we can tackle the next ones after that. I'm going to be quite tied up with but if there's ones that are second priority that can be done in a couple of weeks, then I'd be able to take them on, maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah, and I myself can say that, seeing that we're waiting for verification tab being like applied, actually launched. Maybe I should wait a little bit when all the buttons are in the new places so that, prepping the script, yes, and waiting for actually this to be launched makes most sense to me first. Yeah.
Are there other things being currently like still being developed in the dApp? Because that's a very good point, actually.
Yeah, like they actually posted a roadmap of everything coming up. I don't know if you've seen it. It's I think Monique posted it. Let me see if I can find it.
Does that impact like some of these videos like good to go, or are they dependent on this roadmap?
No, I think all of them would be good to go. I mean, it would be adding new features like maybe give power or things like that. I mean, but I think we could always change a video if it gets outdated. I think most of these should be fine. I don't see any of these that would be impacted by something coming up.
Okay. All right. It's also like we had kind of started this exercise of having people put in their availabilities on the on like this Google Doc. Sort of the common trend across the board that I was getting like feedback on, like from everyone that put their inputs in, is that like people did not seem to have extra capacity right now. So it's also a question like when we're looking at something like this, and I'm kind of asking for feedback of like who could jump in and like take a video. It sounds like pretty quiet in the room right now. Does everybody feel like they're just at capacity at the moment?
Yes.
Yes, pretty much.
Yeah.
With vacation.
Okay. Okay, so that's a different case then, because then in general, like looking at the board together right now probably doesn't make a lot of sense. Then my question would be like how do we go about that then? Because if everyone's sort of capacity, let's say like for the next week and knows what they should be working on, that's fine. That we just get like the last things knocked out over the course of this week, and then we can take like a fresh look at the board, or maybe we can even come up with a plan to like self-assign ourselves to new issues for the next meeting in a week, and then maybe we can like talk about the new issues that we've all decided to pick up, or something like this. I'm just trying to constructively like come up with a plan to move forward without inundating anybody. So what do you think about something like that?
Yeah, Corey, I really appreciate that and the different ways you're trying to get this done. I would be happy to keep working on what I'm working and have a look at and self-assign, as you said. I don't know if that works for everybody, but I like that idea.
Same here. I think after the strategy session on KPIs, hopefully I will feel that I have more bandwidth next week, and I can just think about what can I take on.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. I also want to, yeah, I just want to be cognizant of how everyone's feeling, right? So if that's like the general consensus, then maybe let's do it that way. Because for me, I'm a bit like actually that doc exercise was really helpful for me to like for the first time ever, literally understand like where people are at, what they're working on, and like how much capacity they have. It's just that for me, it's going to be a clear question mark in a week from now, like where's everybody at again? So maybe we could update that document, you know, let's say like by Monday, or you know by Friday or Monday or something like that, and yeah, provide updates there. And also, I would say like the easiest would be to self-assign new things and add that into the update of like I've picked up this and this, and then we could like review that in the meeting next week. The other option is just updating the document with capacity, but I would expect like more capacity to then be available in a week, and then we can like look through this stuff together. So whichever one is preferable. I think I kind of prefer the option of where everyone sort of self-assigns new things next week. The priorities being, so everyone's aware, it would be this course. I think that's like a really good starting point because it's definitely a group exercise, like a group project anyways. And then as new things come in, I'll probably get updates like from Monique. If there's anything like product related or whatever, like I'm just gonna keep my like pay attention to like what actually like will need to be produced, maybe more short term for comms, and I can bring that up then in the meeting. But maybe we go about it that way and let everybody sort of like flush out the last things they have or the things they're working on right now over the next week, and then and just keep in mind like it would be really helpful if you can kind of come with the expectation next week to provide updates on capacity and pick up a couple new things.
I think that sounds good.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Okay, cool. All right. Well then, yeah. Thank you. Is there anything else from the group? Otherwise, I will you know, do a checkout, or we can close off this call for the day.
Nothing else from my side.
Sorry, there was one thing that Tropical Mango wanted to talk about. It had to do with making changes to the workflow and like making it easier for people to donate. Maybe adding sections to the DApp so people can understand like how things are in a easier way. If anyone wants to look at that, let me find the issue. I don't have the number offhand, but hold on a second. Let me see if I can find it.
Monique created like an epic for it.
Okay.
So it's I think I have it. One second. Yeah. It's called Improve Donor Flow.
Yeah, improve donor flow. So yeah, if anyone has a few minutes, I recommend to check that out and leave your comments.
Can you drop it in the group? Sorry, I'm still learning Discord. Is there like a chat thing?
There's a comms channel.
Yeah, I'll
Okay,
paste
got it.
Yeah, awesome.
I found it.
Okay, yeah.
That one. Okay.
Yeah, so that's the one I think for the DAB, but there's also one on the planning board that I also pasted as well. It's the same thing. It's just on the planning board. So yeah, if anyone has some time, check that out.
Cool.
Cool.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Yeah, you're gonna post it in the comms channel, right?
Yeah, already done. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I see it. Okay, cool. Awesome. All right. Well then, yeah, thanks everyone, and looking forward to your updates, and have a good week. Good luck with all your travels, and talk to you soon.
Thanks,
Bye, everyone.
Corey. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.